This episode is brought to you by New Masters Academy, the world's #1 online art school. Click the link down below for a free 7-day trial. Thank you, New Masters Academy. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey Massive Coffee Break Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Vincent, a background designer for animation.
And I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist turned independent creator. And normally this is a podcast about all things art, business, and whatever we feel like. But we need to take a break, a little coffee break, and we are going to really talk about whatever we feel like.
All right, now today I thought it would be a really fun idea for Janet to take the 16 personalities test, basically the Myers-Briggs test, in front of you guys, because I've taken it before and I know sort of like my answers, but I've always wanted to know what your answers were and why. And this was one of those things that I've always wanted to do with you, just as an activity, not even in front of the camera, but I thought like, oh, all of a sudden, I think I was probably in the shower. I was like, oh, I think it'd be really funny if you took it and then we get to document it, so that everybody knows the inner workings of Janet Chan's mind.
I think it'd be pretty fun if you guys did the test along with me and like tell me what you got or get and which answers are different from mine and why.
Yeah, it's really fun. I think it it opened my eyes to a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you want to get into it?
Sure.
All right. So what I have here is a laptop. A modern invention.
Yes.
And I am going to the internet to look up 16personalities.com. I wish we were sponsored by them. Maybe we should reach out to them. Yeah, 16personalities.com. You could take this free test where by the end... Oh, we should just... Sorry. You should explain what this test is for. Why? Like, what is the Myers-Briggs test?
So the Myers-Briggs is basically like a personality test, but based on a little bit of science. And we don't take it too seriously, but I find it helpful to know.
And it's helpful for interacting with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, getting a ballpark of like their personality type and like especially with when you're collaborating with people, especially artists.
It helps when you're working together in a team or work environment, or even just to understand your fellow classmates and friends and that kind of thing.
All right. So shall we get into it now?
Yeah. All
right. So what I have here is a computer, and we're going to search 16personalities.com, and we are going to take the test. It says here, it's so incredible to finally be understood. Take our personality test and get a freakishly accurate description of who you are and why you do the things the way you do. And it really is that. It's pretty crazy. So let's take the test, and we're going to take this in real time. And it says right here even that it's fast and easy. It takes less than 12 minutes. And to be yourself is the most important part.
Okay.
Like you really, of course, I mean, it's not like you have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
But if you're going to take the test yourself, it's you got to be honest or else it won't
be right.
It won't be a correct personality test. So you have to be yourself, obviously. And it says here, we have to complete it all and do our best to not leave any neutral answers, which are basically like a pass, you know? So, shall we commence, Janet Chan?
Yes.
Okay, so these are a series of questions. I'm going to read them out loud, and you're going to answer from, how about kinda, middle, and strongly, disagree or agree, something like that. Okay, so, and then I'm going to read that to you, and if I feel like your answer is satisfactory, because there's so many questions, we're just going to breeze through it, but if I really want to delve into
why
your reasonings, I'll ask you.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right.
It helps for me to see too.
Yeah. Okay. So you enjoy vibrant social activities with lots of people.
Strongly disagree.
Okay. You often spend time exploring unrealistic yet intriguing ideas.
Strongly agree.
Okay. Your travel plans are more likely to look like a rough list of ideas than a detailed itinerary.
Strongly disagree.
And why is that?
I plan like crazy.
Yeah,
I need to know what every single hour of the day is going to be. Not that I will freak out if like it takes an hour longer to get to wherever we're supposed to get to. It's just I want to know.
Yeah.
Because I want to know, okay, I'm going to accomplish these 4 things, and this is the most important thing. Because it would suck if I wanted to accomplish these 4 things, and I only got to accomplish the non-important things.
Right, and
I
you
like to plan.
You stress all the time that you're a prepper.
Yes,
You know?
I'm a prepper. Not that kind of prepper.
If your friend is sad about something, your first instinct is to support them emotionally, not try to solve their problem. Slow down. Answer.
I disagree.
Just disagree?
I strongly disagree.
Strongly disagree. And people can really upset you.
Strongly agree.
You often rely on other people to be the ones to start a conversation and keep it going.
Strongly agree. Yes, actually.
You have to temporarily put your plans on hold. You make sure it is your top priority to get back on track as soon as possible.
Strongly agree.
Okay, that makes sense. That's very you.
Yeah.
You rarely worry if you made a good impression on someone you met.
I rarely worry if I made a good impression on someone you met. I guess somewhat agree.
Like a middle?
Like a closer to like
Not
the center.
really.
Yeah. I agree, but kind of.
Well, why is that?
I think I just don't think about it. I don't think I made a good or bad impression. I just don't think about if I made either.
Okay. So you just really don't want... Okay, so you're interacting with people, and let's say you had your first day at work. How obsessed are you with making a good impression to other people?
Like, I want to make a good impression, but in the act of it and afterwards, I don't think about it. So,
okay.
like, if I met a new person, I go, hi, how are you? I'm Janet. Nice to meet you. And then, like, I go off and do whatever. I don't dwell on, I hope I made a good impression, or I hope I didn't make a good... I just don't really think about it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like a lot of people they lose sleep over how they're perceived or how people perceive them sometimes. You know? Other people, I don't know.
I just feel like part of it is not up to me.
Right.
What they think about me.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. It would be a challenge for you to spend the whole weekend by yourself without feeling bored.
Strongly disagree.
You are more of a detail-oriented than a big picture person.
Strongly disagree.
So you are really obsessed with the big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate the details.
Oh, that's right.
Actually.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. You are very affectionate with people you care about.
Somewhat disagree.
You have a careful and methodical approach to life.
I somewhat agree.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Like kind of agree?
Yeah, I agree, but I don't like strongly agree.
Okay. You are still bothered by the mistakes you made a long time ago.
Kind of agree.
At parties and similar events, you can mostly be found farther away from the action.
Strongly agree. I don't even want to be at the party.
And if you were, you'd be like a wallflower.
I would be with the cat, not the dog, and I would be at the food.
Okay. You often find it difficult to relate to people who let their emotions guide them.
Strongly agree.
When looking for a movie to watch, you can spend ages browsing the catalog.
Kind of agree.
You stay calm under a lot of pressure.
Strongly agree.
When in a group of people you do not know, you have a problem jumping right into their conversation.
Strongly agree. Wait. You have no problem. Oh, strongly disagree. Sorry, I read it wrong.
Oh, okay.
In a group of people, I usually don't speak up.
Yeah, when in a group of people you do not know, you have no problem jumping right into their conversation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd be more hesitant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. When you sleep, your dreams tend to be bizarre and fantastical.
Somewhat disagree.
But you do tend to have wild dreams sometimes.
No? All my dreams are based
Realistic?
in reality. And
You've never had a fanciful dream.
I have.
What?
That's why it's not strongly disagree. But I have. But for the most part, all my dreams are so based in reality, and that's why they stress me out, because I think it's real, and then I wake up, and then I'm confused.
In your opinion, is it sometimes okay to step on others to get ahead in life?
Strongly disagree.
Okay. You are dedicated and focused on your goals, only rarely getting sidetracked.
Strongly agree.
I can attest to that. I agree that you agree. For you, because I've seen it.
Yeah.
If you made a mistake, you tend to start doubting yourself, your abilities, or your knowledge.
Strongly disagree.
Doubting yourself isn't something you do, huh? Very often.
Very rarely.
Very, very rarely.
Very
it
rarely.
seems. When at a social event, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know.
Strongly agree.
You usually lose interest in a discussion when it gets philosophical.
Strongly disagree.
You like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. You would never let yourself cry in front of others.
Kind of disagree.
You feel more drawn to places with a bustling and busy atmosphere than to a more quiet and intimate ones.
Strongly disagree.
You prefer the quiet ones.
Yeah, I hate loud noises.
If you could live in the woods, you'd probably live in the woods.
Yeah.
You like discussing different views and theories on what the world could look like in the future.
Strongly agree.
That's what we do all night long.
That's what we do for most of these podcasts.
Yes, exactly. You cannot imagine yourself dedicating your life to the study of something you cannot see, touch, or experience.
I strongly agree.
And why is that? You need proof?
Yeah. It's very hard for me. So, like, I'm good at math, right? I've talked about how I was in, like, AP calculus, and at a certain point in math actually, like, people think it's, like, very hard science, and 1 + 1 = 2, but actually, when you get to, like, higher level math, it becomes more about theories, and that's when I knew I did not want a career in, like, this kind of sciences, where, like, things are kind of nebulous, and it's all about theoretical. I'm all about, like, hands-on experience. Like, I like doing things and not theorize about doing things. You know what I mean?
You're a woman of action.
Yeah,
That's
like I don't feel like it feels like a waste of my time when people just sit around theorizing about something when they have no idea if it's true or not, and there's no real way to prove it. So that goes for my example of math. It goes for religion. It goes for a lot of things, and I'm not that kind of academic. I don't think I can ever be.
Okay, fair enough. You usually prefer to get your revenge rather than forgive.
Somewhat disagree.
Explain yourself.
It's not worth my time to exact revenge. I
Got better things to do.
Yeah, I have better things to do, and forgiveness. People think forgiveness is like a selfless act. In my opinion, forgiveness is kind of a selfish act, because if you're filled with hate and you're filled with sadness or whatever, the only real relief is actually to let yourself forgive the other person. Otherwise, you're just kind of like,
you're gonna fry.
Yeah, you're gonna like
boil.
Yeah, you're gonna boil, and you're gonna let this hate and anger and whatever emotion you're going through really like eat up at you. When like if you just like forgive and move on, it's better for everyone, and revenge doesn't accomplish anything.
You often make decisions on a whim.
Strongly disagree.
I believe you.
Like just now, that was an example of that.
Exactly.
Like it took me a while to come to terms with, yes, I'm bad at just making a decision on a whim.
That's true. That's right. The time you spend by yourself often ends up being more interesting and satisfying than the time you spend with other people.
Somewhat agree.
Yeah. I believe you.
Yeah.
But, that's not the case all the time.
Yeah, not all the time.
Yeah. You often put special effort into interpreting the real meaning or the message of a song or movie.
Strongly agree.
You always know exactly what you want.
Strongly agree.
You rarely think back on your choices you made and wonder what could you have done differently.
Kind of agree.
Okay.
I think about the choices I make, but I don't regret it usually.
Yeah. I believe you.
Yeah.
When in a public place, you usually stick to a quieter and less crowded areas. I feel like a lot of the audience is going to know where this is going now.
I strongly agree.
Yeah. You tend to focus on present realities rather than future possibilities.
Somewhat disagree.
You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings.
Strongly agree.
Please explain your struggles with understanding other people's feelings and my frustration with your inability to do
Well, I don't like to assume things about other people. I think that's where it comes from. So if someone looks happy, I only can be right about the fact that they are happy. I don't know what they're happy about. Same thing if they're sad. Same thing if they're angry. So I can tell when someone is upset. I can't tell the difference of, are they upset at me, or are they upset at something else, or are they upset at, or are they frustrated, or are they sad? Are they angry, or are they frustrated? Like I can't.
At most, you know something's wrong, unusual.
Yeah.
But you can't pinpoint what it is.
Yeah, because I don't want to assume what it is.
Huh.
It's not that I can't, like I could try, but most of the time I might get it wrong. So for example, when we would go conventioning and tabling, oftentimes people will come up to us, and the attitudes of people who come up to us varies. Some people tend to be more shy, and some people are more extroverted. So the more extroverted ones are very clear about like their intentions. I want to buy something. I really love your work. I want to fangirl or fanboy over you or whatever. Like I know they're showing me what they are feeling, I guess. But the more introverted ones, I can't tell sometimes when they want to buy something versus when they just want to have a conversation with me because they're a fan or something like that. Yeah. So one time there was this girl who came to our table. She bought something, I think, and then she stuck around awkwardly and was asking me questions about like what I was drawing, because I think I was doing a commission or something like that. And I thought she was asking me literally the question. Like she said something like, what are you drawing? I really love Robin from Batman or whatever. And then I would go like, I'm drawing Nightwing or whatever. And then I just like answer her point blank. But I couldn't read the situation of what was going on. She was trying to like put herself out there a little bit, and she was a fan who was trying to get to know me. But like this whole interaction, I was just like, hello, yes, I am drawing Nightwing. I wasn't like, trying to like reciprocate this like thing she was, but like so I'm really bad at knowing exactly what people want. I just assume like if you're gonna, like, I can't read between the lines, I guess, very well. I can, but not very well.
Yeah, and you would ask me all the time. And then these things, I feel like they're a little bit more self-evident to me. But I would get frustrated because I'd be like, what do you mean? Yeah, so they're like upset about clearly. Yeah. Clearly they're upset because their home life's awful and they have to come to this fucking place and then deal with these shitty fucking people. Obviously he looks the way like, it seems so obvious to me.
So like another example, maybe one more relatable, because that one's specifically like unique to go like tabling at conventions, is I would come home sometimes before when I was working at Disney or wherever, and I would ask you why someone would do a certain thing to me, whether good or bad. So like for example, like a coworker would come into my cubicle and like talk to me for hours, but it never seemed like they were listening or really wanted to be in a conversation. So I would come home and I would ask you, you know what really strange thing happened to me today? So and so came to my cubicle and just talked to me for like 30 minutes, but it didn't seem like he actually wanted to talk to me. And then I'd ask you like, why did he waste time like that? Or like or why, if I want to have this conversation. Like, I like this coworker, but like, what is going on? I don't understand. And you just simply was like, he's bored and he wants to waste time. And I was like, is that really it? Then why would, well, I don't understand why it's so hard for me to understand that. So it can be really innocuous like that, but it can also be like in art school, whenever we would have a group project, my leadership abilities and my teamwork abilities and my ability to sense other people's frustrations were way less than my abilities now.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I would unintentionally like annoy people or offend them. Especially because I have a hard time like knowing when I've gone too far. When I'm just trying to give like constructive criticism, part of that is like knowing when to stop.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. When you know someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will be until they become disappointed in you.
Strongly agree.
It's constantly on your mind.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I feel like I'm constantly misunderstood. Like, I don't necessarily like being loved or hated because I'm neither.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if someone thinks highly of me, I can't possibly fill those shoes. If someone thinks highly of me in the opposite direction, like they hate me, absolutely think I'm like the scum of the earth, I also can't really fill those shoes. So
you feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation.
Strongly disagree.
Do you find people that interesting sometimes? I don't think that's ever been a thing I've ever seen you witness. I've ever witnessed myself.
I think people are interesting, but I never feel like I need to go up to them and talk to them.
You often drift away into daydreaming about various ideas or scenarios.
Strongly agree.
I see it all the time. I see it in your face.
Drifting away.
Hey. I do it too.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You look after yourself first and others come in second.
I'm debating between strongly and kind of.
Huh. Which?
Agree.
Okay.
So the middle, I guess.
Okay.
Split the difference.
Even when you planned a particular daily routine, you usually just end up doing what you feel like at any given moment.
Strongly disagree.
Like you said before, you gotta plan every single thing out to a T.
Yep.
Your mood can change very quickly.
Somewhat disagree.
You often contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life.
I disagree.
How strong?
Like, barely.
If that were me, that's all I do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Can you explain how often I do that?
You think about the concept of life and death a lot, and it's kind of disturbing because you think you're gonna die all the time. Like, your mortality is so top of mind all the time. Like, more than I think it should be.
So that's the difference between you and I. You often talk about your own feelings and emotions.
Strongly disagree.
You have got detailed education or career development plans stretching several years into the future.
Strongly agree.
Some of you people paying attention, I mean, it's crazy what you've done.
Yeah.
Like, what have you done?
Like, I've talked about my 10-year plan before, and I always have a 10-year plan at every stage of life, so yes.
You rarely dwell on your regrets.
Strongly agree.
Okay. You spending time in a dynamic atmosphere with lots of people around quickly makes you feel drained and in need of a getaway.
Strongly agree.
People exhaust you.
Yeah.
Don't they?
I think the wrong word is pretend, but I can be in that situation and enjoy that situation, but like, I can feel my energy dipping by the minute. And after 30 minutes to an hour, I'm just kind of like, okay, I got my fill of people. Time to go home.
You see yourself more of a realist than a visionary.
Strongly disagree.
Okay. You find it easy to empathize with a person who has gone through something you never have.
I find it easy. Strongly disagree.
Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than to organized and consistent efforts.
Strongly disagree.
Explain yourself. Because that's how I feel like I work. I like go too hard and then I die. And then go really hard and then I die.
I think that's most people, actually.
Right.
I think you have like sudden inspiration or sudden motivation, and then you expend it all. And you're like really into it when you're expending it and you're like doing whatever. But then right after you're like pooped.
Yeah.
And you find it hard to like do it again, like the next day or whatever.
But how about you?
I am more about working smart and not hard. And I understand after being burnt out multiple times, like in art school and then after art school, I know the danger that is not being consistent and not expending too much energy right at the beginning so that you just can't keep going. Because I've seen that when you tend to be that way, you don't grow as fast compared to, like, it's the same with exercise. If you don't go to the gym, you're a weekend warrior and you like go all out and you drink pre-workout and you're like, and the next day your body is, you can't move. Right. You're not going to go to the gym. And that makes it so much harder for you to see results compared to if you lift like light weights and like do weird Asian dances like I do at the gym, and the next day you don't feel like you can't move. You'll still feel like you have energy. You'll go to the gym again. And that consistent effort usually means you go further in life, in career, in whatever it is that you want to do. So I felt like, especially when I was going through imposter syndrome in art school, I really felt like it doesn't matter if I try really hard right now, because I'm not going to get as good as everyone else by doing that. I need to be able to work harder and work longer than everyone else. And it meant that like smaller bursts of energy instead of like big ones, I guess.
You really paced yourself.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Your emotions control you more than you control them.
Strongly disagree.
And how are you so good at that? That's something that I feel like normal people, and that's totally fine, people have difficulty with.
Well, when things are sad or bad, I understand that I have no control over a lot of things. That a lot of things aren't really up to me. So to waste energy being upset about something instead of taking action on something makes me more upset than just being upset, I guess. But the problem with that is it's very rare that I allow myself to really feel happy.
Yeah.
And to really, like, when good things happen, it's not that I don't feel happy. It's that it takes a moment for me to get past, like, all the details and all the, like, things keeping me from being happy. Like, in a way, it's like a shield for my emotions. It's like I don't want to allow myself that pleasure until I know that I'm not going to get hurt, I guess. I see.
Interesting. That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah.
After a long and exhausting week, a fun party is just what you need.
Strongly disagree.
You frequently find yourself wondering how technological advancement could change everyday life.
Strongly agree. I actually do.
Really? Is it because you're really obsessed with efficiency?
Yes. Like, I don't think you understood when the Roomba was invented. I wanted one so bad. Like, you understand how much I wanted a little, like, Jetson-style robot to clean the house for me. And this was, like, when was the Roomba like, when we were, like, young preteens?
When was the Roomba invented? It was invented... it says... it thinks I said the Roomba, the dance. Oh. Never mind. Never mind.
But, like, so, an equivalent to, like, when the Roomba was like heavily advertised on TV. Now it's all about the Tesla because I'm like, I don't want to drive myself. Are you kidding me? I'd rather nap. So I want some robot to drive. Like, I think about this all the time. Actually.
Oh my God. What is the thing that you've thought about recently that involves like technological advancement making your life easier?
I had been thinking about how like it'd be nice if I could get home cooked meals delivered to me by a robot. like they made it right beforehand and then delivered it to me because I remember during quarantine, I was on TikTok and I saw this little robot on the university campus. Oh
yeah, I think I saw that one too.
And it delivers food to people, and it's so cute. And I saw that, and my mind was blown. And I was like, I want one. Can all these robots be outside on our street and they're just delivering food to people? That seems so efficient. And I was like, oh my God, it's Wall-E.
Yeah. You always consider how your actions might affect other people before doing something.
I strongly agree.
You still honor the commitments you have made, even if you have a change of heart.
Strongly agree.
And you rarely feel insecure.
Strongly agree.
That is it.
Okay.
You complete 100% of the test. I'm going to click this, and we're going to see the results. You ready? You ready, everybody? Here we go.
So I've been listening to this audiobook called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, and it's written by 2 Navy SEALs who teach you about extreme ownership, and it's really helped me through these hard times, really chasing after my dream and being the owner of my growing little online art business. And I highly recommend it. It's a really good book to keep you motivated, and you can listen to this audiobook if you get a trial of Audible using our link, audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast, where you will get 1 free audiobook and 2 free Audible original audiobooks on top of guided meditation, podcasts, so much more you can choose from. So if you want to get the free 3 audiobooks, go to audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast.
What is it? Boop.
I am INTJ-A.
And there we are. Janet is going to rule the fucking world.
Oh, God.
All right. So, I'm going to read some of these trait things. Okay. So, your personality archetype is architect, INTJ-A. For the mind section, this trait determines how we interact with our environment. You're 3% extroverted, 97% introverted.
I'm super introverted.
You're super introverted. Energy-wise, this trait shows where we direct our mental energy. You spend 73% on intuitive stuff, and then 27% on observant stuff. Huh.
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I thought it'd be the other way around.
No, I decide things with my gut more than I am through like observation.
Well, then how's your poker style then? Is it logic or your gut? Like, or is it like a mix of both?
It's a mix of both.
Okay. So you're like looking at the cards and you're thinking like, oh, that dude might have this and this dude might have that, but I think I can
so
raise
like
here.
How I play poker is my first initial pass at it is to go through all the statistics in my head really quickly first. I can't help it. But then after that, I am more intuitive about it, where I'm sizing the other person up. And
that's the fun part of poker. You know, like the logical part, like obviously I do the same thing. I measure the risks and all that stuff. But then like the fun part is just like, you know, the little contest.
The back and forth of ego, basically, is what it is.
And then nature. This trait determines how we make decisions and cope with emotions. 60% thinking and 40% feeling.
Yes.
Man, you are such I don't know. It's just like you really are like away, you know, like there's not a lot. There's just like, you know, you're either one way or another.
Yeah. I'm not
Crazy.
Like, you know how sometimes some people fall like right on the like 50% mark where they can kind of be either.
Yeah.
I'm pretty like either or. Yeah.
I see. Tactics. This trait reflects our approach to work, planning, and decision making. 93% judging and 7% prospecting. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And identity. This trait underpins all others, showing how confident we are in our abilities and decisions. 79% assertive, 21% turbulent. Yeah, cool. That's really neat. That's your stats right there. That's pretty crazy. So now I click next, and then it has all this data about INTJ stuff. You want me to like quickly read through it, or and then react to it, basically?
Sure, yeah.
It says here in 16personalities.com, it has an introduction for your personality type. The introduction reads, "It can be lonely at the top, being one of the rarest personality types and being among the most capable people. Architects know this all too well. They make up just 2% of the population, and women with this personality type are especially rare, forming only 0.8%. It can be difficult for architects to find people who can keep up with their nonstop analysis of things. People with this personality type are imaginative, yet decisive, ambitious, yet like their privacy, curious about everything but remain focused." Why are you with me? Because it sounds like I'm reading this and I'm like, I really don't think this person would like me. I'm reading it right now.
It's because like it says, INTJs are kind of full of opposites. And what people don't understand about me a lot of the times is that because I'm bad at reading emotions and reading people think that like I just don't value emotions, which I think that's actually a different personality type. I'm not it's an IN something, but that's definitely a different IN like personality type. And what actually is like, because I'm so bad at it, I admire people who are good at it the most. Like what you lack, you admire in other people.
Yeah.
So like
I'm the same way too.
So since you are so emotional and able to like wear your heart on your sleeve, it makes it like, for me, I think that's impressive and that's admirable, because I can't be that way.
It also says here, with a natural thirst for knowledge that shows itself early in life. Other kids at school often call architects bookworms. Were you ever a voracious reader?
Kind of.
Okay.
But I didn't do that because I wanted to read. I did that because I wanted the points and the prizes you get when you do that.
For your book program at the library?
At the library,
school?
yeah.
So you did it out of, what you'd earn.
Yeah.
Of course you would.
Yeah.
While their peers may intend to insult them, those with this personality type likely identify with the label. Throughout their lives, they're proud of how much they know, and architects enjoy sharing the knowledge they gain. They're confident. Oh, yeah, you do. They're confident in their mastery of their chosen subjects. They are serious and prefer to design and carry out effective plans rather than waste their time with foolish distractions like gossip.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And then when it comes to standing on logic and principles, architects are self-confident in skills and ideas they focus on. Using their insights and logic, they push innovation through by sheer willpower.
Yes. Yes.
You're not like government funded, or you don't have any like secret investors, do you?
No. Like, I feel like how I got hired in animation was through sheer willpower, because...
Oh, explain that. That's true.
Yeah, so... If you didn't already know, the stereotype that jobs in animation are because of, you getting hired in any job in Hollywood is because of who you know and not what you know. I know that is a stereotype, and it's true, for the most part. So a lot of people that we knew who got jobs very early on were a combination of both, usually. But they also had a huge leg up because they knew people. I didn't know anyone. My family has no connections in Hollywood. They're an immigrant family. They did not want me to do this because they didn't believe that I could do this. And I, through sheer willpower, forced connections to happen. Like I would go out of my way to befriend, or the recruiters that I had to befriend, email them every single month. And that took about 1.5 years of doing until I applied on a website, which, if you didn't know, no one usually gets hired through applying through a website, to the point where after I had gotten hired, my friend asked me how I got hired, and I said I applied on the website, and then they were like, wait, you mean that actually works?
I can confirm because I've never been hired through the website.
And
I'm meant for this industry, you see.
And so it really felt like I, through sheer willpower and manifestation, whatever you want to call it, I was like, I am going to work in the animation industry. And it happened.
Unfortunately. Architects' personality types dislike rules, restrictions, and traditions. For them, everything should be subject to questions and reviews.
Yes. So I have a story about that too.
Okay.
So you think this personality trait of mine reared its ugly head because of my jadedness from animation? No, this has been part of my personality for a very long time. In school, in specifically college, I questioned everyone and anyone and everyone.
You dislike teachers that everyone loves. You dislike 2 teachers that everyone loves from our school.
I am very extremely critical of authority figures, basically. I have a huge problem with teachers in general, because of how I grew up, because of being bullied a lot, because of a lot of things. But I both simultaneously love really good teachers because they're so rare, and I hate all the rest of them. And I remember getting interviewed for this program in school or whatever, and I was supposed to say good things about like our department head. And I remember just being like, no, during that program I questioned everything, and I don't care because I am paying for this education. And I think I worded it in a way that wasn't so antagonistic. So the person interviewing me was like, oh, tell me more, and like so into it. But I think when she read back her notes, she realized what I was actually saying, that like I disagreed with a lot of my instructors in that program, and then she never wrote that interview, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People only want to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah.
When they can, architects often act alone, and their approaches are usually innovative and unique.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. They might not wait for others to catch up to them, but because of this, they're sometimes not as sensitive as they could be to the thoughts, desires, and plans of others.
Yeah.
But they aren't impulsive. Architects strive to remain rational no matter how attractive an easy but ill-considered route may be. Every idea must pass the strict and ever-present, does this make sense? And is this going to work? Filters. They apply the filters to all things and all people, and this is sometimes where architect personalities run into trouble. Why are you so critical of the animation industry?
Because it can be better. What people don't understand is people take my criticisms far too seriously, and also they take it too personally, and they think, well, I think it might be the case for most people, when you criticize something, it means you don't like something. For me, it's the opposite. If I'm going to put the effort in to criticize something, it's because I believe it can be so much better, that it has the potential. So, like, for example, I'm hypercritical of the people I care the most about, versus I do not care about people I do not care about. And the only reason I would ever share my thoughts and opinions is if I believe that you had the ability to grow and be better. And I think that's where I get into a lot of trouble with people.
I think people can so easily think that you're doing it to feel a sense of superiority.
Yeah, When it's more
Is that
like,
true?
no, I'm trying to help because I'm like, oh, you could be so good, or oh, you could be so much better if you just listen to me. But I understand how that can come across. Like, who am I to think I know better than anyone or whatever? But I don't know. Like I as this type of person, again, I plan and I prepare, and I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe like this is the fastest way to what you want. But you're not listening to me. But I know in my head, I did all the like
mental gymnastics.
Yeah, of like everything that could go wrong and everything. But like, just trust me, just listen to me.
Right, and that's why you laughed at the part where it said you run filters of like, does this make sense or is this going to work all the time? And you do. You really do.
We get into a lot of arguments actually because I do that.
Yeah.
I tend to be the one to shoot down ideas a lot because I'm thinking, will it work? Does this make sense? And I thought it was really funny that they literally said those two sentences. Will it work? Does it make sense? Because that's literally all I think about. Will it work? Does it make sense?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so before we go into strengths and weaknesses, I'll just briefly run through some of the actual real life people who share your personality type.
Okay.
Both living and dead.
Okay.
So there's Nietzsche.
Okay.
And there's Michelle Obama.
Uh-huh.
And there's Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Vladimir Putin.
Great.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm.
Colin Powell.
Mm-hmm.
Walter White, Heisenberg, I guess fictional as well.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Baelish, Littlefinger.
Mm.
Tywin Lannister, Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Gandalf the Grey. I didn't know Gandalf the Grey was like that. Huh. Professor Moriarty from Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, usually the INTJs are the villains of fiction.
Why is that?
Because they're the evil geniuses.
Are you an evil genius?
No. You know what's interesting? They're the sympathetic evil geniuses.
Oh, I see.
They're the
Yes, they're the ones with the plan that like
it's
I
for
can
the good
see
of people. Yeah.
I see. So for strengths and weaknesses, architect strengths: quick, imaginative, and strategic mind. Architects pride themselves on their minds, and they take every chance they can to improve their knowledge. This shows in the strength and flexibility of their strategic thinking. Highly curious and always up for an intellectual challenge, architects see things from many different angles. Architects' personalities use their creativity to plan for unforeseen possibilities. You do that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
And when unforeseen possibilities arise and I did not predict it, what I always say is, I should have known.
I should have known. Now it says you have high self-confidence. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Architects trust their rationalism above all else.
Mm-hmm.
So when they decide something, they have no reason to doubt their decisions or insights. This creates an honest, direct style of communication that isn't held back by what others expect of them. When architects are right, they're right. And nothing will change that fact. Whether it's a person, a process, or themselves whose course needs to be corrected, they'll hold their ground and have it no other way.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
I'm pretty stubborn if I think I'm right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why we fight so like a lot.
There's no way of changing my mind, convincing me that I'm wrong. Unless you present me a point of like I haven't considered before. Then no. But then that's kind of difficult. But it's possible.
Right. Independent and decisive. This creativity, logic, and confidence from individuals who stand on their own and take responsibility for their actions. Authority figures don't impress architects, and neither do social conventions. It's like you predicted all of this.
I did not know that's what they're going to say.
And no matter how popular something is, if they have a better idea, architects stand against anyone they must to promote their plan. Either an idea is rational or it's wrong, and they're happy to apply that standard to themselves.
See, yes.
Yes.
I hate authority figures because, they do not impress me. I don't care what you have accomplished in life. I am interested in only what you are accomplishing right now. The most important part is actually that last bit.
That last bit. either an idea is rational or it's wrong, and they're happy to apply that standard to themselves.
Yeah. As harsh as I am towards the world and other people, I apply all of that to myself. And I think people who really dislike people like with my personality type don't understand that. Like, people think I have I've learned how to word things better so it doesn't come across this way, but when I was growing up, people used to think that I thought I'm a know-it-all. Like, I thought I knew better than everyone else. But I actually don't think that, because I am the most critical of myself. You think I'm critical about Disney and other people? I am the most critical about myself. And if I don't live up to my own standards, I would not be able to forgive myself and to live.
Yeah.
And
you can't just like say all these things but then not have the same standard for yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta walk the walk and talk.
Yeah. So, for example, when I think I'm right, I am right, and you cannot change my mind. But if you prove to me that I'm wrong, I'm not going to like still be stubborn and say I'm right. I will acknowledge that I'm wrong, and I will concede. But it's very hard to prove that to me.
Hardworking and determined. If something grabs their interest, architect personalities can be very dedicated to their work. They often put in long hours and intense effort. Architects are goal-oriented, and if tasks lead to something clear and relevant, they strive to accomplish those tasks. Jeez.
Yeah.
This is so crazy how accurate this is. What's going on here?
I mean, you guys probably don't know this about me because you guys see the end product of everything, of the podcast, of the videos, of art, or whatever it is. But if you were to live with me, like Vincent does, you will see exactly how methodical and how much work goes into every small action that you guys get to see. And there's nothing stopping me except for when my body literally gives out.
Yep, you work really hard. And now what? 3 videos are coming out every week on this channel?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Let people know when those are.
So Monday is podcast, Wednesdays is hopefully art-related video days, and then Fridays are business tips, YouTube tips type content. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so open-minded architects are open to new ideas as long as they're argued well. People with this personality type are even, maybe especially open to ideas that go against their own if the thinking is... That's what you just said. Yeah. That's exactly what you just said. Yeah. What is going on? What's going on? This is crazy. They often apply their openness and independence when thinking about matters like alternate lifestyles. Mix this with their dislike for rules and traditions, and it's easy to see how architects might lean towards more tolerant social views. Yeah. Wow. I really like challenging myself with people's opinions that are completely opposite of my own, which is why I don't necessarily disagree completely with any one person. I can always see value in what they have to say. I'd still say you're wrong, but... Okay. Jacks of all trades, because of architects' open-mindedness, willpower, independence, confidence, and planning abilities, they are capable of doing anything they set their minds to. Skilled at hacking anything life throws their way, architects are able to break down and learn from almost any system. Then they use the ideas found there whenever they're needed. Architects tend to have their pick of jobs, from IT system designers to political organizers. That's pretty crazy. You do that. Yeah. You are a jack of all trade, and you have all of these traits. It's kind of amazing. And now we're going to talk about your weaknesses. Okay. First one is arrogant. Architect personalities can carry their confidence too far. They may falsely believe that they've fixed all the issues of a matter. They call it a day, rejecting the opposing opinions of those they believe to be intellectually inferior. With their disrespect for social standards, architects can be insensitive when offering their opinions if they aren't mindful of their attitude and less developed social skills. This was definitely more true when I was younger, when in like high school and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
When you don't have that maturity yet to really check yourself, you probably got into a lot of like, hairy situations when you're little.
Yeah, like being insensitive, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, judgmental. Judgmental. Architects have complete confidence in their thought process because rational arguments are almost by definition correct, at least in theory. In practice, emotional considerations and history are largely influential. A weak point for people with the architect personality type is that they brand these factors and those who embrace them as illogical. They often dismiss them as people who think in an inferior way. This can make it all but impossible for others to be heard.
Yeah. Sometimes. Especially if...
It was definitely a difficulty when we first started dating.
Yeah.
Like I would notice like you're constantly judging things, but it's difficult because normal people judge things, I don't know, as an ego thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, to make themselves feel good or whatever it is.
Right, yeah. Like I'm right because I'm right.
Right.
Not because all the data proves that I'm
you judge
right.
things because you're really critical.
Yeah.
You know?
I think though, there are many times like when we're working together, or like when we're going to a convention or something like that, I have such determination and one-track mindedness to get to my goal. You might suggest something and I won't take the time to listen. And I think I've gotten a lot better with that. As I get older and I understand more about leadership and slowing down, I think, is the main part, because I wouldn't do that if I was calm and I was in a sane environment where I can like think properly. But sometimes when I am in a high stress environment where I am the boss and I have to make quick decisive decisions for everyone, I can be that way, and then I don't stop to like listen, I think.
Yeah, I've experienced that with you too.
Yeah.
Overly analytical. A repeated theme when discussing the strengths of architects is their analytical skills. But this strength can fail them when logic isn't the most important factor. Relationships in all their complexities often resist neat explanations. Architects can be highly critical and sometimes reach a high level of picky thoroughness with dealing with others. At that point, many people, with the exception of extremely loyal and understanding friends, are likely to flee, sometimes not to be seen again. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Because I don't know if that's just life or if that's just me. I was like, doesn't everyone lose friends as they age?
You loathe highly structured environments. Architects hate blindly following anything without understanding why. They have a greater dislike for authority figures who go around forcing others to obey laws and rules without understanding the purpose of the standards themselves. Architects are likely to not get along with anyone who prefers how things have always been. However, by not going along with the standards, even when doing so might not be a big deal, architects can make their lives harder than they need to be. What do you have to say about that?
That is my life in a nutshell. It's like I always kind of knew that bureaucratic environments were not for me. And then I put myself into
a bureaucratic environment
where I think most people's authority is based on nothing. And then I really made my life harder than it needed to be.
Clueless in romance. This resentment towards rules and their tendency to overanalyze and judge, even to the point of arrogance, adds up to a personality type often clueless in dating. Having a new relationship last long enough for architects to understand what is going on and how to behave is difficult. Trying harder in the ways that architects are used to can only make things worse, and unfortunately, it's common for them to simply give up the search for love. Ironically, this more relaxed state is when they're at their best, and only then they are most likely to attract that special someone without effort.
That sums up my romantic life in a nutshell. Because I had my 10-year plan starting as a senior in high school of what I wanted life to be right now, actually. I was so ambitious that I felt I needed to be so focused in my education that I never imagined getting married, and I never imagined being in a relationship with anyone because I thought it would get in my way.
Am I in your way?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I also felt like it would, because that's not my priority. I didn't have the time, the luxury of the time to like put in the effort to do that, like they said. But then it was actually when I was expending the least amount of effort caring about that kind of stuff when we met.
Yeah. So there you go. And there's a whole section about romantic relationships. You want to get into it?
Sure.
All right. In romance, people with the architect personality type approach things the way they do most situations. They create a well-designed plan with precise expectations and the right end goal. Oh my God, that's exactly what you said. Here, the goal is a healthy long-term relationship. They rarely fall head over heels in love in a way that involves spontaneous passion and romance. Architects find potential partners who meet certain established criteria, break the dating process down into measurable steps, then complete the plan with great consistency. Jesus Christ, who dates like this? Oh my gosh. I want to see the alternate dimension where you actually go on like Tinder or something.
Right, so actually,
okay.
Before we got together, I was having like a little bit of a life crisis, but not really.
How old were you and when was
I was 20? I think I was 20.
So a little bit before you met me.
Yeah. And I was wondering, is all this effort that and heartache that I'm putting in to accomplish my dream to work in animation, was it really worth it? And was my 10-year plan, I knew at that point that it was going to happen. And because like everything had pretty much aligned up to it up till then. But I felt like I finally understood why people chase after like relationships, because I think when you're young and you are like me, you tend to look down on people who care a little bit too much about relationships and finding a girlfriend or finding a boyfriend. You go like, man, don't you have better things to do with your life? That's literally what I thought. But as I got older, I understood that like life, you want companionship. Like I don't think people like me want to be alone. I actually think it's pretty lonely to be someone like me because I'm constantly misunderstood all the time. And I remember feeling like I should change my 10-year plan to add getting into a relationship and to add like that kind of emotional importance in my life that's beyond just like I need to get like to a certain place in my career or whatever. So I was like, in the next year, like I had a very specific time frame. In the next year, God. Once I finish these courses in school, I'm going to go on Tinder. I'm going to go on these apps, like these 3 apps, or I'll do the research when the time comes. That's what I thought. And I will find the best apps to get the most valuable relationships, because I didn't want to just have one-night stands or whatever. I was like, I'm gonna find the right apps because that is important. And I was like, okay, and these are like my rules, and these are like, this is like my timeline, and I'm not gonna give up. So
okay,
I would have dated like that if it weren't for you.
Oh my gosh. People just go on those and then it's like a crapshoot. Like, oh, I'm gonna get lucky. But you're like,
I have a plan.
I have stats. I have spreadsheets. In a purely rational world, this would be foolproof. However, it ignores important factors that architects are likely to easily dismiss, such as human nature. People with the architect personality type are intellectual, always developing a world in their head that is more perfect than reality. Other people entering their worlds need to fit this fantasy in some way, even if only by agreeing with their concepts. It can be incredibly difficult for architects to find someone up to that task. Finding a compatible partner is the most significant challenge for the majority of architects. That's pretty crazy. So it says here for career paths. So this is, I guess, the architect in the professional world. Professional know-how is often where architects shine most brilliantly. They easily take in complex principles and techniques and change them into clear and actionable strategies. No other personality type comes close to their ability to assess and organize concepts. Architects can usually sort out the noise of a situation, then find the core thread that needs to be pulled to unravel messes, which they then put back together again. In the process, they produce the most elegant solutions to problems. As they grow, their confidence, enthusiasm, and creativity typically lead them to more interesting work. In time, they are likely to earn the independence they typically desire. Oh, look at that. There's hope for you yet. Working best and working alone. People with architect personality types usually prefer to work alone or in small groups. There, they can make the most of their creativity and focus without constant interruptions from curious coworkers or supervisors who call too many meetings. Architects are unlikely to be drawn to management roles or anything that involves nonstop interaction and teamwork, often preferring more lone wolf jobs. They like a drawing board more than a boardroom meeting. Like so many others, architects get along best with leaders who understand their style of working and can help advance their visions. The other side of that coin is that architects dislike anyone who gets ahead by by playing the office politics game well or working a company social scene just right. They judge their coworkers by what they can do and not who they know. Architects have high standards if they view a colleague or a supervisor as not being up to those standards or otherwise ineffective. Respect can be instantly and permanently lost.
Yes. All of this. Man, this person really knows me.
People with the architect personality type value personal resourcefulness, grit, insight, and commitment in themselves and in others. They believe that everyone should complete their work and meet the highest possible standards. If a social butterfly at work breezes through without carrying their own weight, they might find architects using their ingenuity to find ways to stop their nonsense. Wait, what does that mean?
I think people like me can get a little bit vengeful of people who are social butterflies, and that's how they get ahead. And I think I am quick to point out the fact that they don't do anything, or and it kind of stops their plans.
Right.
So those people tend to not like me.
Earning the right positions. As their careers progress further and their reputations grow, so will the difficulty of the tasks and projects architects are offered. Architects' personalities demand progress and evolution, and they love to explore new ideas. They often satisfy this by pushing themselves into more active strategic positions. While they don't care for the spotlight, architects do enjoy controlling their ideas. They often take on low-profile but influential roles as project managers, systems engineers, marketing strategists, systems analysts, and military strategists. Wow. Crazy.
Explains why I like Fire Emblem so much.
But really, architects' visions, creativity, and skill in carrying out their plans make their personalities possible candidates for just about any career. Some careers, such as sales and human resources, don't necessarily play to their strengths, but that shouldn't stop them if they decide to take up these kinds of work. Architects have the qualities necessary to work in just about any organization if they decide to, and if they find nothing out in the world, they usually have in abundance what it takes to start their own business. Wow. And if they find nothing out in the world, they usually have in abundance what it takes to start their own business.
Yeah. When you are disappointed by bureaucracy, you go, I'm going to do it myself then.
And it says here, your workplace habits. Architects want to tackle intellectually interesting work with little outside interference. They want no more and no less time-consuming management techniques like trust-building activities, progress meetings, and long sessions that look backward rather than forward only annoy architects. All they need, be they subordinates, colleagues, or managers, is to meet their goals with the highest standard of technical excellence. and it may help them if they're surrounded by people who share those values, if anyone surrounds them. On paper, this makes them appear to be model employees. In many ways they are, but in a lot of personality types will find working with architects challenging. Architects have a strict code of conduct where they work. If they see coworkers valuing social activities and accepting good enough workmanship over excellence, they're likely to be in trouble. Architects prefer to work in tight, like-minded groups, and a group of one is just fine with this type.
Yeah, this is funny because it reminds me of so in every animation studio, you will find that some shows have these group bonding activities, and it could be Thirsty Thursdays, where you have like a little bar at your little cubicle thing, and then you make drinks for everyone. Or it could be little activities like weekly meetings, where the only purpose is to get everyone together. Or like birthday meetings, where you celebrate a certain person's birthday of the week or whatever. So for the most part, I dealt like with that kind of stuff. Like I didn't care either or about this kind of stuff. I thought it was a waste of time. But sometimes I felt like it was useful, because sometimes like Thirsty Thursdays are fun. You get to drink with your coworkers, whatever. But that's only if it actually accomplishes the bonding.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of bonding activities. You bond. In the show that I was on at Disney, we had these weekly meetings where, again, all you are meant to do is to get together and bond. But what it ended up being was the elites, the animation elites, as I would like to call them, patting themselves and their friends on the back while ignoring everyone else, solidifying the cliques and making sure that there was more division on the crew. And I felt like, okay, I didn't like these bonding activities to begin with, but they at least bonded people. This bonding activity does the opposite of bond people. Why am I here? Why am I here congratulating people I don't like for work that is mediocre? So, that's how much I hate those kind of things, as long as they're completely pointless.
All right, so that's that.
Yeah, so that's the INTJ that I am. I think I come across as not an INTJ in the podcast sometimes, or on video or whatever, because we had this conversation before that, like, if I was truly 100% myself, I do not think anyone would watch the YouTube videos. Like, it's like a stereotype that YouTubers are like either completely a personality or an exaggerated version of themselves.
Let us know in the comments if you want Janet's full personality, or if you think that's a terrible fucking idea.
And yeah, I genuinely believe if I went full INTJ, no one would watch this channel. First of all, I wouldn't be as entertaining. I'd just be a curmudgeon. And yeah, I think
maybe you could be an entertaining curmudgeon.
I don't think I'm that funny. Like, you know how, like, in order for a curmudgeon to be entertaining, you kind of have to also be witty and funny. I don't believe I'm that witty and funny. So I'm just going to be a hated curmudgeon. But I think, you know, I have been misunderstood my entire life. That's not going to stop now. If anything, it's like I'm broadcasting how weird I am and how ridiculous I am and how hard it is to understand who I am exactly to the entire world. So
maybe somebody can understand you a little bit better, you know?
Maybe. I'm less concerned with being understood and being liked and being loved by the people, whatever that means. And I'm more concerned with showing people who are like me that we exist. Because I don't think
And you're a 0.8 according to the website.
Yeah,
That's
0.8 of the
crazy.
population.
That's crazy.
Not even 1%.
Stands to reason. There might not, I don't know. Like I don't know.
Well, I think people on
crazy.
the internet, people in media, people in most visible spaces are overly represented by extroverts because it's not natural for someone like me to be on camera. It's not natural for someone like me to do any kind of social media, actually. It's not enjoyable for me, but I know I have to do it to get to my end goal, which is to build this business. So for the most part, introverts are pretty underrepresented to begin with. And then when you think of an introvert, you don't really think of someone like me, too. You think of the shy, sweet person who's just just shy. But I want people like me to have someone to relate to. Like it was really hard for me growing up to relate to anyone, especially a woman. Like, women don't tend to be like me. Like I said, I think in a previous podcast, the only people I had to look up to were like men who shared a lot of similarities with me in terms of personality type and that kind of thing. It was very hard for me to relate to women and other girls for a really long time. Not because I didn't want to. I want to be friends with everyone. I think that's the misunderstanding that a lot of INTJs have. We don't hate everyone. We do want to be friends. But yeah. Yeah. I think the more accurate description for an INTJ is like the misunderstood intelligent person. The misunderstood nerd. There you go.
You're a misunderstood nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not quite Hermione, and I'm not quite like everyone thinks that like nerds are a certain way. Either you're a douchebag know-it-all or you are incompetent socially, or and you're just like shy and nerdy. But I'm kind of both. Unfortunately.
So if you like this episode, touch our bells and buttons, flick them over there, and leave a comment down below for what your personality type is, and if you relate to Janet's weird alien life.
Subscribe, follow us at Honey and Absinthe on all our social media platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere where you find podcasts, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.